Okay. So then, would you want to repeat your question so that it
Yeah,
will be
first,
recorded? Yeah.
yeah, first of all, I want to thank you for coming again for my invitation and just saying okay to my to give me a help. I just want to learn from this interview, learn from your experiences that I've been hearing this about from decades that Jewish people are very intellectually great and Jewish people have so many Nobel Prizes and Jewish people are so much smarter than rest of the people. So, and there is a reason behind it, there is a logic behind it. They grow their children in a way that they become very intelligent. They become very smarter, and they are very confident. And the business that they do, it become very great, and they expand their businesses from all over the world. So these are some unique skills that Jewish people have. So I want to learn you from the beginning, like when a woman get pregnant, so how you take start from that time to an adulthood of a child.
So it's thank you very much for the question. I am afraid that my answer will be very disappointing. Um, that is true what you mentioned that Jews in the world and Israelis maybe or Jews are that the Jewish people is divided roughly into about 5 to 6 million people in the United States, some communities around the world, and about 7 million or more in Israel, when the total population in Israel is about 9 million, including Arabs, Muslims, Christian, and Druze, and some other minorities. So, roughly, you can say that about half of the Jewish population is in Israel, lives in Israel, and about half in outside of Israel. Then there is one division that you need to make is there are many colors of Jews, many colors of Judaism. There are religious Orthodox Jews. I will make it one group, and then there are secular Jews that would be the other piece. There are many more groups, but I wanted to simplify. Now, it is true that Jews or Israelis have a much higher percentage of Nobel Prizes than than the rest of the population, and it's a very high in respect to the size of the Jewish people, which is small. Jewish people is a very small people, and what is the reason? I have no clue. Some people talk about genetics, but I think that there are some historical and cultural influences, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure that they apply to exactly to this answer to this question. Um, and if that can explain. So one particular thing that I can point out is that in the religious side of Judaism, along the many nations, the many years, the hundreds of years, in fact, more than 2,000 of years, there is something that, and in Jewish people in general, Jewish people is called the people of the book. There are two meanings for that. One is the people of that particular book, which is the Torah, the Bible, and there is also a meaning of people of learning, people of the books, you know. Um, and in the scripture, in the Bible, or out of the Bible, there is one particular thing that creates this sharpening of the mind, and it is what came after the Bible. The Bible is a written document. Who wrote it? Some say God, some people say other people wrote it. Of course, I believe humans put it together. It's a very, very smart document, just like Quran or the scriptures of Buddhism or other very ancient scriptures or some Hindu scriptures are very smart, and they were polished along the years, and then finally we know them as one document and we say it's very smart. But after the Bible was given or written or disseminated, in order to keep learning and knowing, because it's an old language and because it's a complex language and because language got more modern and modern and modern, and people got farther and farther away in general from the Bible, not not the very religious ones, they adopted ways of not only not translating it but explaining it. So if I will use now a few very high words in our discussion, you might ask me, Nahum, what is it that you mean? And then I will explain it in a in a lower language, in a simpler language. So since you could not ask the guys who wrote it after 200 years, 300 years, 500 years, you could not ask. There started a movement, we can say, call it, of explaining the difficult words and the difficult meanings and the subtle meanings, etc., etc. And you would say, oh, they meant like this, and I said, no, but they meant like this. So let's say that you take a chapter in the Bible, and they will say you have to respect your mom and dad, and you have to respect human life, and you have to respect ABCD. Okay, like the Ten Commandments. Okay, now one can say, wait a minute. Ten Commandments or respect your mom and dad. What does it mean, respect mom and dad? And you might say, respect mom and dad is make sure that they live their life properly and they don't need food, they don't need anything, they will be always well dressed, etc. Somebody else might say it's something different. It's be kind to them. Somebody can say something different. So there started, it is called in Hebrew, pulmus. Pulmus is a sort of a dialogue of explanations. And it is like a national sport, we could say. But it comes from the religious part of explaining the meaning and the meaning and the meaning and ta 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 and talk it endlessly. And through that, you learn the script, you maybe understand better, and you say, well, in the third century, Moshe said like that, and the Rabbi Yaakov said differently, and then in the fifth century, somebody said like that and explained it like that, and so on and so forth. So this endless pilpul is like putting pepper on a food. So this giving some taste, some pepper. Uh, so this pilpul, pepper is very small bites, very small pieces when you put it on a food. So pilpul in Hebrew means peppering. When we say peppering, is we mean in that respect, we mean the endless chat of explaining and talking about this and that, and was it like this and was it like that. So for example, you and I could now, we could get into a pilpul, into a endless chat like, what do you mean raising child? And you said, well, I mean from the womb. And then I said, well, is it in the womb? Or maybe is it after? Is it 2 months before birth that the child can hear? Or is it 2 months after? Or so we are getting into details of details of details of details, and we bring all kinds of opinions. And I will tell you, well, in Chicago, doctors say that the baby is here from 2 months in the womb, and etc. etc. So this endless getting into the details is some sort of a national sport, but it does not apply that much to the vast majority of non-religious people. But something from it is, I don't know, I don't think it's in the genes. Uh, so the second thing is that indeed we love books, we love reading, we love knowledge. But that is a very broad generalization. It's not very true. And if you ask me about modern society in Israel, I would tell you that I reprimand a lot of things. I was an educator, a school director, a school principal, a boarding school principal and educator, a non-formal educator, etc., etc., etc. And now I'm a coach that is also some sort of an educator for people. And I think that we are getting farther and farther away. So less people study mathematics properly, less people people become more shallow. People go to social media endlessly. They don't like to read books that much, etc., etc. So I can tell you that I believe, it's my own opinion, that we are on the decline. It is all over the world, unless some minorities that really want to excel and do better, so they would pay attention to this. With that being said, here comes my disappointment for you. There is no way that we raise our children for that particular thing. We don't raise our kids to be Nobel Prize winners, unfortunately, because maybe we do have the genetics. Maybe. I have no idea. Maybe. There is something also in in being spread out in the world, since the Roman times when the second temple was burned down in the 70s, in year 70 after Christ, they took the Jews into exile. There were, in fact, two exiles and more. And for thousands of years, we were in exile. I myself, as you might remember, I was born in Romania and I came to Israel only at age 14. And how did the Jews get to Romania? They were expelled by the Romans to France and to Italy and to Spain. And then in 1495, they were expelled from Spain by the Muslims. And they said, either you become Muslim or you leave or you die. And so a lot of Jews spread out into Europe, East Europe, Poland, Hungary, Romania, and that's how Jews got to Romania. And that's how I got to Romania. Being a minority, a very small minority, often treated unfairly, very unfairly in a lot of people. Yes, Jews Jews were good with money, they were good with the numbers, they were good with the academical skills, and therefore they were a minority, so they wanted to excel, and they were expulsed from governmental positions in many hundreds of years. So they tried to make it by being smart, by being better, by sticking to numbers, to this, to that, etc. So there is something there. But again, unfortunately, we do not teach our kids to handle money well, and by far we don't have enough financial education. We have some, but by far not enough. And we are not very successful in teaching kids to love books, unfortunately. Uh, so I can tell you what I believe. I believe that what's important is not to raise kids to make Nobel Prizes. What's important is that they become good people. And so what's important is to love the kids, give them love, nurture them in a loving way, and enabling them to go after their curiosity. But there's no answer as you thought that there might be one.
I was basically want to hear from you. I specifically did not ask to make your child a Nobel Prizer. What I meant was I was just giving example to understand this topic better. So my question was to understand that how in what environment a Jewish child is grown up, and like if you give them a mentally peaceful environment and let him grow and let him choose what he wants to do, and up to what age you respect his ideas and you respect him as well and you follow his commandments like being a child. So these type of things I want to learn from you, that when a Jewish children is born or in the home, that what environment do you create to the mother, and after that when he start means his journey into this planet earth. So what kind of things or what kind of initiatives you take so that he become more intelligent, means his IQ level goes up and his EQ level also goes up, in his SQ level and AQ level also goes up. So these type of things I want to learn from you if you have the knowledge about this.
Mhm. So, thank you again for the question. Um, Again, I will disappoint you uh, because, but again, I want to make the difference between Jews in the diaspora outside Israel, religious and non-religious, and Jews in Israel, religious and extreme religious and non-religious. So, in terms of subjects and topics that they learn, Jews in the diaspora, the religious and the non-religious Jews, they are more aware of some of them, not the majority. They are aware that their only way to keep in touch with their Judaism is to be active. That's on the religious side, and so they encourage them to keep the traditions and to learn, etc., to learn Bible. The non-religious in the diaspora in the United States, in Europe, etc., they have actually a big problem and they are very much afraid of getting involved and disappearing as Jews and getting involved in the overall global community. And they are really worried about that. But it's something that happens. People marry non-Jews, and it's just life. And so there is no particular direction that the non-secular Jews, which also in the diaspora are a bigger group than the religious ones. So there's no particular difference there. Coming to Israel, the religious group, the extreme religious group, there are other groups that are less religious and so on. But if I want to make it simple and divide it into very religious and non-religious, then the very religious will focus a lot on this pilpul, on this learning of the Torah, of the Bible, and of the different other documents and books, religious books that came out of the Bible, and they will focus a lot on that. Unfortunately, there's a very big problem in my own eyes and in the eyes of most of Israelis that they do not learn um, enough mathematics, physics, chemistry, and the non-religious subjects. So now also it's another different problem is that they have more kids than the secular Jews. So this is going to change the balance in the world and in Israel, and more religious people will be that learn less mathematics and science and rockets and chemistry, and there will be and therefore I think that we are losing the edge that we have today, the advantage that we have today with all the Nobel Prizes and Startup Nation and all the endless startups. We have more startups per capita in Israel than in any country. And it has to do if you read the book Startup Nation, then one explanation is also something that has to do with the military. But back to your question, um, again, there is no when a woman is giving birth, there is no extra thinking about how do we make her to be happy and well, and how do we make the child to have the conditions to raise their IQ, etc. There's no specific focus on that. Israel in general, and now I'm talking mostly about the non-religious part, but Israel is a very democratic country. So we respect human life. I know it is hard to hear that today in the circumstances of this horrible conflict that is going on, but we respect human life. We cherish human life. Therefore, we respect the kids. We respect the mothers. In general, it's a generalization. There's always failures here and there, all over the place. But in general, we respect people. We respect the child. We don't beat them. We give them, we spoil them on to the other extreme. And so we give them the best of opportunities to grow and be happy people, happy, contributive people to society. But there is no focus on specifically guiding them to some place. I can tell you that, like in many other countries, or maybe Western countries, gifted kids get a different opportunity. My grandson and my granddaughter, two out of the four, but at least him, he's a 10-and-a-half-year-old boy, and she is 9 year old. He is extremely gifted in IQ, amazingly gifted. He's just way, way, way above grandpa. So once a week he goes to a special school that is for very gifted kids. That what he does there goes way and over his regular school. And in the regular school, he finds it quite boring. But thank God he's a happy, sweet, soft, emotional kid that that is okay. He's going, but they don't really like that much school, the regular school. On the other hand, my granddaughter, who is 9, she's especially gifted in emotional intelligence. So she didn't get into that school, although she is just as smart as him. Maybe he's more. But she was unable, by the way, she was unable to get into that school because she has some focus issues and she needs more time to solve problems. So one of the parameters, one of the characteristics of how smart you are is how fast you can solve something and answer something. She is slower, but she's just as smart as him. But she's extremely gifted in emotional intelligence. Now, she can read the room, she can read problems. She's playing soccer and she's in the goal and she sees somebody falling on the other side of the from the from the other team. She will run to him and see if he's okay. She will forget about the goal. She forget about the group. She forgets about the game. She goes to help that child. Now, the world is nowadays going more into the emotional intelligence needs rather than intelligence needs. Yeah, there's an intelligence need, but more and more, and we see the world divided and not so creative, and people have a lot of wars everywhere, and there's 70 some percent of the population of the planet is living in dictatorship, in non-democracy. Only 30% of the people in the planet live in democracies. How crazy is that? Okay, some some non-democracies are nice, but they don't respect very much human rights. But 70% and a bit more are not democracies. So and you see that there's conflicts and conflicts and conflicts. Afghanistan, Azerbaijan, Afghanistan, and you name it, Russia, Ukraine. Here we have a conflict. You have conflict everywhere. And what will make the world better is that we develop emotional intelligence. So what you and I are doing by connecting to each other, Imran and Nachum, Nachum and Imran, these chats, these smiles, this is what we need to do more. So I believe that intelligence is not the issue, especially now with artificial intelligence coming and conquering the world. But emotional intelligence is what computers are unable to do, and what a lot of people don't know how to do. And if, for example, the Palestinians and us would have more emotional intelligence, we would be able to bridge the gaps better. So again, I had to disappoint you.
No, no. Thank you so much for this great answer. I have completely understand. And the wonderful thing I like from your answer is that we have enough intelligent people in the world, and they are just destroying the world. And now we have,
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
and we have, again, we have artificial intelligence now as well. On the top of that, intelligent people. So now we need emotionally intelligent people, so that they make the world the balance, like they
yeah,
can keep the world in peace, and they can talk to each
yeah.
other, they can communicate each other, sharing the values and the knowledge with each other. So
Mhm.
that's a very beautiful thing I got from your answer. So thank you so much, and thank you so much for your time as well. And I
I
have,
want to add two
yeah,
points.
yeah, of course.
One is there are tribes, very primitive tribes in Africa, New Zealand, Australia, that they have zero IQ, zero, not zero IQ, but zero technology, no books, no learning, no nothing. But they have an amazing, emotionally intelligent code. They bring, some people go to hunt, they come back and share with those who are unable to hunt. They are gathering stuff, the women, and they are fishing and they are doing this and that, and they come back and share. They care for the weak. So they have an amazing emotional intelligence, and they are surviving in spite of their horrible poverty and are happy. And on the other hand, I watched yesterday or 2 days ago a documentary about the atomic bomb, and you might know the story of how it was developed and how it was used, etc., etc., and how many lives it killed, etc. And and that in the end there was really zero need to drop it. That's what the documentary says. The story goes that they had to drop the bombs, the two atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, to stop the war because the Japanese would not surrender. But the documentary goes on and figures out that there was really no need, that economically they could stop Japan almost back to the knees without even going into Japan. And they would come to their knees because it's an island, and once you were encircling it and enabling zero economic development, they would drop. And Einstein, who was the one who broke the code for the opening of this armament race, he was asked, how will the third, in the middle of World War II, he was asked, how will be the third World War fought? And his answer was brilliant. He said, I don't know how the third World War will be fought, but I know that the fourth World War will be fought with stones and sticks because nothing will remain. So the amount of destruction that we put in, human destruction, is so stupid, despite of the fact that it's so intelligent. So what we really need is calm down, hug each other, and it's tough. It's tough. But if Japan and the United States, and in United States and Germany, who were horrible enemies, And I'm not saying that for Russia because Russia is still ruled by a crazy maniac. But if Japan and America, after World War II, after the two atomic bombs, if Germany and America, after World War II and everything that two world wars, if these three countries are able to be friends, and with France and Germany and England, etc., if they could become friends after 70 years, friends, they are allies, they are friends, then we can do it too. Take out this religious nonsense. I respect religion, but take out this fanatic hatred. Put in a few hugs, a few smiles, a little bit of patience, a little bit of emotional intelligence, and we can have a much, much better world. I'm afraid I'm not optimistic, and I would really want my two grandsons, my four grandsons, to be able to flourish and enjoy life and bring happiness and peace to everybody and have Pakistani friends and Indian friends and Malaysian friends and Indonesian friends. I have friends from all over the world, including in Palestine. I have clients in Palestine. I have Palestinian clients. How crazy is that? And we love each other, we help each other, and we live together, which is fine. So there's no reason that we cannot solve that, but we need more emotional intelligence, and there are a lot of efforts made in that direction in Israel, but by far, not enough. So I'll have to go too, but I thank you very much for getting in touch again, for asking. You're a wonderful interviewer. You are asking smart questions, and don't worry about IQ. The heart is where things happen.
Thank you so much for your precious time, and you always gave me the positive response whenever I want to learn from you and have a chat with you. So thank you so much for that. And inshallah, we will be
Inshallah.
talking to each other. Inshallah.
Inshallah. Inshallah. Be well, stay well, and keep doing a good job. You take care.
Same to you. Same to you. Take care.
Bye bye. Bye bye.